How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bodacious Rant. Burn, say it with me. If you feel it,
chase it.
Exactly. And if you haven't guessed already from all the good stuff, the tagline, everything, we are talking about the latest blockbuster to grace us this summer, and that is Twisters, starring Glenn Powell from Top Gun Maverick, The Dark Knight Rises, for those of you who remember that, and a bunch of other stuff. And also Daisy Edgar-Jones. I know she was in one movie last year. I forgot what it's called. But there's about her.
Was it Fresh that you're thinking of with her and Sebastian Stan?
No, it was one that was based off a book. I thought, at least I want to say she was in that one. It was King of the Marshland's daughter, something like that. I could be wrong.
Where the crawdads sing.
Where the crawdads sing. Thank you. It had something.
It was close.
Had something with a swamp or a marsh. Same thing.
There's swamps there.
And Anthony Ramos, Kieran Shipka, the newest Superman, David Cornsweet, and a bunch of other really talented actors right now. So this is a non-spoiler review because this movie's currently out for Dolby, IMAX, everything. So if you do enjoy the video, please give us a like, ring the bell to stay up to date with notifications, and of course subscribe. We again appreciate you all, you ranters, coming in and ranting with us. So let's get started. So this one, I would say, I don't necessarily consider it a sequel, almost if anything like a soft reboot to a certain extent, because after watching the original movie, this is one of those ones I'm like, there's almost like no relation to the original film whatsoever. Where essentially Daisy Edgar-Jones's character Kate, she's a meteorologist. She's trying to study how to stop tornadoes just from creating more damage and stuff, and then due to events she stops chasing, but her buddy Anthony Ramos brings her in to try and reignite that study, and that's when they run into Glenn Powell, who is a tornado wrangler, quote unquote. And it's just a colorful cast of eccentric characters and personalities. And honestly, and Bern and I got to see it in the screening several months ago. Obviously, we weren't going to talk about it just because the law and rules. So,
yeah, we don't want the big studios coming after us.
No, and this one was Warner Brothers and Universal.
And Universal.
So
yeah.
It's like we're not going to have
two studios.
Yeah, we're not going to have the two of the biggest studios aside from Disney come after us. So, and I'm pleasantly surprised that there were several changes, like good changes made, in my opinion. Not that there isn't if you ever gone to a screening and seen the final product. But yeah, I still really enjoyed this movie. I was kind of on the fence when we saw it months ago, but honestly, seeing it now finished, I was like, yeah, this is definitely up there as probably one of the strongest movies of the year. Bern, how did you feel about it when we saw the final product?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I enjoyed it when we saw the screening. Obviously, it wasn't done, so it was a little bit hard to see, what it was going to look like when it was going to end, in its end point. But I think the version that we got is definitely really good, and a lot of the things that I'd liked about it is still very much there, and a lot of the things that I didn't were certainly improved on. I felt like, but for me, I think this movie kind of reminds me of Top Gun Maverick in a lot of ways, where it just feels kind of like a throwback. To the old, blockbusters that we got in the early 90s, to the maybe possibly, I guess, the early 2000s, where it has that classical Hollywood feel about it, where you have these charismatic leads in this really, fun adventure situation with really fun effects and some really cool set pieces. And at the same time, it has a lot of heart to it. I thought that this movie had all of those in spades, where you have a Daisy Edgar-Jones' character Kate was a little bit more rigid, and the place where she is in life is a little bit more unconfident, and then you juxtapose that with Glenn Powell's Tyler, who just oozes confidence and charisma. I mean, the guy's a legit movie star. I think we could say it at this point. Especially after Top Gun Maverick, Hitman, for anyone who saw that, that was a movie that came out on Netflix. He was really fantastic in that, and he's great here. In this dual, leading role with Daisy Edgar-Jones. I thought they did a really fantastic job of playing off each other, and you believed their camaraderie and their chemistry together. So I thought they did a great job. And the twisters, the tornadoes, the set pieces were a lot of fun. There's plenty of them to go around here, so the movie never gets boring. And they were all done fairly well. I think some of the effects weren't the greatest, but I think for the most part across the board, either way, the set pieces were really entertaining and were a lot of fun and injected some great energy to the story and allowed the characters to sort of act around that and act off of each other really, really well.
Yeah, and while after watching the original, I could definitely see a lot of similarities. It's with movies like this, there's always going to be a good amount of them to a certain extent, depending how they go about it. But that's not a bad thing. If anything, it's a more modern telling of it, at least a more up to date version than the original one. So I really appreciated that. Like you said, Glenn Powell is a movie star. I can't think of like I mean he's up there with a handful of actors. I'm like, dude, put him in the movie, it's most likely gonna do well because he's one of those guys I want to see the movie for. Just like Netflix with Hitman with Netflix, this movie I was really excited for him in, and who knows if he starts getting to Marvel or DC, it's like, yeah, they're probably one or both of those studios may need his star power for that. With all that being said, Byrne talked about the set pieces. I think the sound effects for the tornadoes was really well done. I think one of the strongest sound designs we've had this year, especially along up there with Dune Part 2 even. I'm gonna give this movie a 4 out of 5. It was a very well done, very fun. Would definitely go back to see it. Strongly recommend for IMAX, and if not IMAX, at least Dolby. But you may want to see IMAX just to kind of get into really experience the events and stuff like that, the twisters and all that kind of stuff. So strongly recommend for the theater, $5 Tuesday, whenever you can go. This is one of those movies to go see it this summer.
Yeah, I mean, this is just good, solid summer blockbuster filmmaking. This is you want to be entertained, you want to have fun, and you want to enjoy yourself for 2 hours. This is definitely going to do that for you. Yeah, I mean, you have the fun, colorful cast of characters. Although it does have that cheese, it does have that that like very sympathetic heart factor to it that is very gooey and emotional and fun. But the characters and the actors are all really fun and charismatic and entertaining and make their roles that on paper aren't really that much to speak about. They make them entertaining and they bring them to life in a very fun way. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you. That the spectacle of it all does warrant a more premium viewing if you want to do that. I think, I don't think you'll feel like you wasted your money should you choose to watch it like in IMAX or something like that. The spectacle alone is there definitely. So yeah, I mean, this one for me is going to be a 4 out of 5. Also, just a very well-made movie. I'm surprised that the director, Lee Isaac Chung, was the one that did this. For people who don't know him, he made that movie Minari a couple of years ago with Steven Yeun. That was a much smaller movie than this. So to see that he was the one that actually directed it, I can definitely see it now in terms of the characters and the smaller moments and the more emotional moments in the story. I thought that handled it really well, and the fact that he handled that on top of the cool action spectacle in this movie, I thought he did a really good job, and everyone here did a really, really solid job. And I think this is probably going to be one of the more entertaining movies you watch this year.
Absolutely, and I'm glad we agreed on this one too as well, Bird. It was just a lot of fun.
It's just a good time, They haven't had a lot of those in the theater this year where you're just like, that was fun, that was solid. There are a lot of more lukewarm, disappointing, or just kind of meh feeling movies. This one was certainly not that. It was just very much like, that was fun.
Yeah, definitely a nice positive story after watching Longlegs. As much as I love that movie, it's pretty heavy and dark, so it's nice to have the light brought into it. For those of you who did happen to catch it, please let us know what you thought in the comments. Now that this one's done with, we got the next biggest movie that Bern and I are both looking forward to, which is Deadpool and Wolverine. So catch that review soon when we go see it. But until then, everyone, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and if you feel it,
chase.